watching too much, like you said, Tony Robinson lately.
Yeah.
Robinson? Like Robinson and Crusoe? Or what do you Robbins? Trying to talk about Tony Robbins?
Tony Robbins. What I say?
Dummy, it's Robbins.
Hey, are we live yet? First, if we're live, you got to say hi to Randy and his little buddy Luke.
Yes.
Beat you to it.
Yep, you're quick. You're quick.
So in case you guys are wondering, we have a new member of our group now. We held auditions behind the scenes. Nobody knew about it. And we got this handsome young man to join our group, Mr. John Pastorello from, is that how you pronounce it, John?
Pastorello.
Pastorello, yep, John Pastorello. Makes me hungry for Italian sandwiches. But Mr. John Pastorello from Refrigeration Technologies sent me a bunch of stuff like this giant juice box bag here. I haven't tasted it yet, but this is
I
like
bet you we can all show something
citrus flavored.
Wait, I'm gonna flex on you right now, Bill. Hold on.
Oh yeah. I'll flex and rip my shirt off. Look at that stuff.
Hold on. That was
If
my
you're
favorite
in the know, if you're in the know, then you get the foreign bottles of Nylog.
Ooh, fancy.
So let me ask you something, John. That bottle that Bill just held up where it has the marker, the handwriting on it.
Mhm.
Yes,
Who wrote that?
I did.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. Steve.
That was my favorite part because I was hoping that was you who wrote it. And I'm actually not going to use it. I'm going to put it on my shelf as a souvenir because you are one of the greats. And I swear to God, that's my opinion. What I'm gonna
right
do.
over here next to my dinosaurs.
That's a true story.
True story.
So since I'm surrounded by beards, I'm going to show you my beard days here.
Nice. What's up? Not your average Joe.
Oh, this is gonna.
Yep.
Oh, that's
I
not
see
too
it on the left.
shabby.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Nice.
And now, am I better looking than Joe or what?
I'd say you're
I
You
mean,
look pretty familiar coming back
it's
from Italian
close.
background.
Yeah.
I passed the bum on the street today. I thought was better looking than Joe.
That's a good point.
I can give you my beard story if you'd like to hear that.
Go
Sure.
for it.
Yeah.
Okay, so back in the olden days, I was at this dive bar in a back room fixing a ice machine, and I hear the owner, one of the owners, he was on the telephone, and he goes, "I got this kid here, and he's charging me $25 an hour to fix his ice machine." Can you imagine that? $25. We're in the wrong business. And then a few minutes later, I hear him say, "I'd like to pay him off with beer, but I don't think he's old enough to drink." So after that service call, I decided to grow a beard, and that made life much easier.
Yeah.
Before the
Well, the reason
beard,
I
I'd
agree.
hand the customer a bid to do a job, $600. They give me that look in their eye like, I'm going to call somebody else. But with the beard, it was like carrying my resume with me.
Exactly.
And,
And the bigger, the smarter you are.
they tell me, "Gee, when can you start?" Instead of
So did
that
you
was the reaction I got.
did you
See that?
did you
I don't know
start
about
it?
the bigger, the smarter, Bill. Yeah,
That's
I
exactly
think
right.
the bigger, the scruffier, the more of a homeless person you look like. So
You know how easy it is to eat. I can eat popcorn, and the popcorn that I drop never hits the couch.
True.
That's a good bonus.
And you can have it the next day.
but if you were like me, you would just eat the popcorn when it falls on the ground and freak your kids out because they're like, "Oh my God, you're going to catch a disease."
Well, it's California. I can't blame them. I mean,
So you sound like you started pretty early then, John. Is that the case?
It was in my early 20s, yes.
How did you get
Yeah.
involved with refrigeration and HVAC in general?
Well, I started out as a bench chemist, and the lab I was working for kind of went under. And so I was out of a job, and what came up was this company was hiring, big company was hiring installers, no experience necessary, $5 an hour to start. And that was big payback in the 70s, early 70s. So I said, well, I'll go do this gig for a couple of weeks until I can find another lab position. And I really enjoyed the work. Got out there, worked my ass off, got the endorphins going, and every day was something new. We're in the lab, every day was the same. It was like working on an assembly line. So, they sent me out and trained me to be a service tech, and never fulfilled their promise. I went to work for a couple local mom and pop refrigeration companies, but every time winter came, you weren't getting any hours. Chris will tell you that.
Yeah.
In California. And
Yeah,
so
this is probably one of the worst doing that.
And I just picked up side jobs during then, and it eventually turned into a business. Got my contractor's license, and before you knew it, I was going full bore. Then grew the beard, and business got really better.
I tried to shave my beard off a couple weeks ago, and it just comes right back. I think the older you get, the faster it grows, just right in there. But well, right before the show started, got a really interesting phone call, and I actually have to go to work right now. Adam, will you pull up the screen share real quick? So this is a horrible picture, but customer just called and said that last night, they think it happened last night, someone went to their refrigeration unit that's on their back dock, and you could tell it was a tweaker, and they stole all the copper lines. And these are the pictures that he just sent me.
Wow.
So
You know what you should do? You should go there with your leak detector and be like, I don't know, I can't find the leak.
yeah, just keep putting gas in it.
Yep.
So it's completely missing the suction line. Luckily, it looks like from the pictures they sent me that it's broken at my unistrut clamp right here. So I'm hoping that there's no more damage and I only have to replace the suction line.
Yeah.
And hope that the low pressure control worked and shut the compressor off.
Well, do me a favor, Chris.
Yes.
If since you have to leave like the most important night, of your week on a weekly basis, make sure you give them the big picture.
Oh, they're getting a big picture repair on this one.
You better just replace the whole system.
The sad thing is I kid you not, I just put that condensing unit and replaced the evaporator and redid the line set probably a year and a half ago.
So now, are they going to cage it in? Can they cage it in? What's going on now?
No, this restaurant, this has happened at before. They've stolen stuff before, so, and I don't know. Who knows what they're going to do? Maybe they'll pay. I'm going to fix this tonight. Maybe they'll have us remove all the equipment on the roof. But I've actually had, to be honest with you, when I go there, I'm going to go on the roof because at this restaurant, I've had these same people do this to all the air conditioning units on the roof. They climbed up there and kicked all the drain lines off and broke them underneath the ceiling. So they had to have plumbers come in. So we'll see if there's more. But it looks like they were in a hurry, and you could tell they clearly didn't have tools because they just kicked it and broke it and twisted it until it snapped the pipe.
Yeah, I've had a couple tweakers do that in the Detroit market that I work on.
Yeah, this is in San Bernardino, so it's not the greatest area here in SoCal.
I've seen a couple HVAC companies that were slow do that as well.
Yeah. What are you implying there, bud? Okay, don't even, because I wasn't there.
Yeah.
He's hired some inside job. He hired some people. Right, John? He hired some people.
Yeah, you
take it out.
$20 to a tweaker, they'll kick it off.
I talked to Chris earlier today, and it's like 2:00 his time. I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm just watching a little TV." I'm like, "What? It's 2:00." He's like, "Dude, I don't have any work. I'm just sitting around the house." Well, little did we know he did a little work last night.
Yeah, but anyways, guys, I'm gonna have to let you go because I got to go handle this service call.
All right.
Sorry to cut this interview short, John. I know the guys will take care of the rest of it.
Just remember this, John, when you're thinking about sending out stuff to people and T-shirts and everything, that somebody here let you down. It wasn't us.
I'm sure he'll be stopping in soon.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
John and I are like, "Hey, John, can I stop by real quick?" And
damn it.
So
yeah, you suck up.
Let's see how that goes. All right, guys. We'll see you guys later. Okay.
Adios.
All right. Now that the dead weight is gone.
And now we can get to the real thick of things. You ever blow up anything in your lab, John, when you're like mixing up chemicals and you're just going at it, trying to figure out the next best, greatest product?
Yes.
Of everything backfire?
Yes.
Really? What's the most interesting or worst experience of that?
Actually, I was just boiling off some alcohol in some powder. I was working on Checkmate detector tubes in the early R&D of it, and I had my heat up too high, and instead of the alcohol just slowly evaporating off, it just blew the hell out of everything that was in the beaker.
Oh, wow. Yeah, see, Big Clive would call that a woofer. Woofler, yeah.
I'm glad actually, and somebody in chat just mentioned it as well about checking moisture in the system, and you just said Checkmate, and I think a lot more guys should know about this, to be honest, because I think
Tell him.
Amazing.
Did you tell Crispy we should get him on the phone and tell him to bring it out to that system when he's done?
After it rained as well.
Yeah, tell us about what is this Checkmate stuff you're speaking of here, Joe?
Well, I let John talk about it. I could help him talk about it. But go ahead.
Back in 1995, there was this company called Carrier. They came out with this detector tube for measuring acid and moisture in a refrigeration system. And I took a look at it, and I looked up their patent and everything. And it was just a little detector tube. You'd hook it on to the liquid line and wait 10 minutes, and it would give you some color changes, letting you know if there was acid or moisture in the system. And I looked at it and I go, this can't work. And I looked into their patent, and I said, no, this is not going to work. And at that time, Big Blue was in all the Carrier wholesale houses. And then we got kicked out and replaced by a blue leak detector from their total line. And so it kind of pissed me off. So I said, you know what, I'm going to go after them and develop a test kit that will actually measure acid and moisture in a refrigerant gas. And at that time, people were reclaiming gas, especially R12, and they wanted to know if it was clean enough to put back in a system. Mm-hmm. So you want to make sure it didn't have any acid, of course. And if it did have acid, you just turn it in for recycling. But you want to make sure it didn't have too much moisture. Otherwise, it had to go out and reclaimed. So we came up with this acid and moisture test kit. And later on, that has its limitations because it's only good for testing recovered gas. And for testing acid and moisture levels in a actual working system, you actually have to look at the condition of the oil, because 90% of all your contaminants are going to be in the oil phase, not in the refrigerant.
So what's a good way to do that?
I developed a tube that would sample a couple drops of oil through the Checkmate device and change anywhere from 1 to 6 different colors, telling you the degree of contamination in your system.
Wow.
So that's a Checkmate device. It's very popular in Europe. I mean, we sell more of these detector tubes in Europe than we ever want to produce. And in the US, it never really grabbed hold. It never took hold, because the sad fact is that most technicians, they don't check for acid.
Nope. You come across problems, these companies are changing a compressor, big compressors, and let's say a year later, it's happening again. And they're thinking, maybe if it was a burnout or not a burnout, who cares? The new compressor has oil. The system's good. But, stuff could be trapped. There could be moisture in the system. There could be acid still in the system. And people are not doing a simple check. And that's it's crazy how just a simple check could fix things or to find out things and isolate certain problems, but they're not doing it. It's just weird. I've done it. And there's shadier tests out there that people have done. Hey, you know what? Maybe I've used it once as well. Or even flushing chemicals. I never used flushing chemicals, but it's just amazing how something so simple people could do and they don't do it. I don't get it.
I've never actually. I've never.
Looks like a god, to be honest with you.
Checkmate, I don't think I've ever seen in any of the supply houses that I frequent.
And that's
it's one of those products you have to ask for, really.
Well, here's the thing, John. Yeah. My local distributor that I buy from, I was trying to push your products because they have these BS cleaners and leak detectors and no name brand crap that it doesn't hold up to Big Blue and all that. Look at this guy.
Yes.
So I asked him, I'm like, what about the refrigeration technology stuff? And the guy's like, what's that? And he's like, that's a no-name company or something. I'm like, you see the Nylog you have on your counter? Well, yeah, that's Refrigeration Technologies. You need to look at their other products,
Actually, there was a question before we even started from Europe. They were curious, John, to see if you guys are thinking of maybe he's saying he can't find you in Europe. I don't know if that's what he means by that, but I guess he wants your product, but they don't have it in Europe. Do they have your product in Europe, or is it just online there?
There's some Nylog there, but what happens with Europe is the cost of shipping goods and the duties getting in, it makes the product completely unaffordable. You consider that we have to ship the product from the West Coast all the way to the East Coast, then it goes on a boat, and then it gets there eventually. And the cost of landing is, we can't compete with the locals producing local chemicals there.
That's
now we do sell a lot of Checkmate there because nobody else has a product like that in Europe. We do a very little with Nylog and Big Blue there. We have a pretty good distributor in the UK, but everyone that's tried to sell our products in Europe just hasn't been able to break ice.
Have you ever thought about possibly having a second manufacturing facility and actually manufacturing it there, so you don't have to go through the extra cost of shipping?
Yes, I have a master distributor in Belgium, and they looked into the possibility of us using a fill plant there. And I gave them a formulation for Big Blue, and it wasn't the actual formulation, but it was just to test them. And what we found out is they could not get in Europe, they cannot source the same materials that we can here in the United States. They have a very limited amount and a variety of chemicals they can draw from in Europe. Where in the United States, we can draw from hundreds of thousands of different raw materials. They only can draw from about 10,000 different materials. And what they tried to do is they tried to make the best substitute in Big Blue, and it came out looking like cottage cheese. So we gave up on that.
So here's the thing. Everyone that's used your products, they think it's far superior because listen, here's the I think the disconnect, right? A lot of these people that are making products for HVAC don't actually do HVAC. You did HVAC and you were also a chemist, right? So you have a leg up on everyone. So I mean, we don't have a huge platform here, but there's people that watch us. Like coming from the guy that called bullshit on Carrier, what are your like Starship products that everyone should know about, you know?
I want to say
Starship
everybody should know
products?
about Big Blue.
Actually, our best seller is the Viper aerosol coil cleaner.
Oh yeah, yep.
Well, yeah, the reason for that is that can of coil cleaner, that lasts you one service call. A bottle of Big Blue is going to last you 3-6 months. So there's turnover on the coil cleaner. That's why coil cleaner is a big business, because it turns fast. Gasket and thread sealant, it's going to last you 6 months.
I guess
little tiny bottle of nylon. Big Blue 3 to 6 months, but the cleaners, repeated turn.
But I guess like what I'm asking you as well is like, what products do you think that you make that are far superior to everyone else on the market?
Well, I hope every single one, because we have a very small line, but what we make, we're the best at, I think.
So basically, it's like
very clean as far as chemistry goes, to where we don't have any carcinogens, we don't have any VOCs, we don't have anything that would throw up a red flag with any big companies that are screening chemicals to be used by their employees. So in that realm of products, I think, we have the best performing line of chemicals.
Yeah, Hughesman HVAC here in the chat brings up a good point. Those hand wipes that you got, I got a tub of those too. Those things are great. They're much better than the shark wipes. I think that's what they're called, the shark wipes or whatever. And those other off-brand ones you can pull off the shelf. But yeah, those hand wipes that you got, I don't know what it is, but they're not as gritty. They have a more of a pleasant smell, and they do, I don't know, a better job of cleaning my hands anyway.
Yeah, it's two-sided. One hand is one side of the cloth is smooth, and the other one is abrasive.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
I'll have to start wiping with the other side.
Yes. There's a company that we don't actually make their cloth or anything, but I prescribed a formulation for them to use. So they have their buckets ready, and they just load it with the formulation that I gave them for doing the hand wipes.
So speaking of formulas, I'm curious how many people like know the formulas of your products. Is it like it's just written down on a napkin, locked in a safe somewhere, or do you have like a whole team of people that know it so they can produce all your products?
Yes. Well, not a whole team. What we do is, we have our formulations in-house here. And in case we have equipment failures, our field equipment goes out, we have a backup fill plant that we actually own some stock in it. My family owns stock in it. So we're actually small minority owners in this fill plant. And we ever have any problems here, we get overloaded with orders. We just throw it over to a co-packager, as we would call it. And, since I'm an owner, my order goes to the top of the list. And within a couple of days, they can fill my warehouse.
Wow.
So, yeah, we have that nice little relationship.
Now, we know moisture loves to get into things no matter what. Somebody had a good question here. Sean was asking, does Nylog have an expiry date?
No, it's unlimited shelf life because it's oil. And oil was down in the ground billions of years before we were here.
That's actually a good point too, Joe. Like on the Nylog, John, there's a huge controversy obviously about Nylog. Can you talk about like a little bit about what's in it and why it's okay to use it? Because there's a lot of people that are like, don't use it. Just use oil, or don't use anything.
Yeah. We did a lot of helium leak testing, and we found that lubricating a thread was better than, if not superior to, using pipe dopes and paste and whatever. And so Nylog Red is basically mineral oil, but it's built to where it's got this very sticky, tacky viscosity. And Nylog stands for New York Life Oil and Gas. And that's where I got some of the basic research way, back in 93. I was researching chemicals, and I came across some bizarre chemistries. And so I copied it in the lab, but I didn't know at that time what I was going to use it for. And then I finally just thought, well, let's try it on threads and gaskets, and let's send it out for helium leak detection and see how well we stand up against competitive products. And once we got the lab results back, we said, yeah, let's make a product out of it.
So since
it was a little difficult because it's a non-hardening, non-drying material. People are used to putting pipe dope on a thread and tighten the threads down, and it dries, it cures, it gets hard. And this is it's a lubricant and assembly lubricant. And, I get calls from people, they said, we put this Nylog stuff on our threads, but, it never cured. And they were worried about putting pressure on the system and hoping it wasn't going to leak because it never cured. And I said, no, that's not exactly how it works. But finally, after all these years, because I came out with it in 93, and then in about 2007, people started to discover with the 410A mini splits and the flares that it actually did stop leaks better than all the other stuff out there.
So what would happen if it actually was introduced, if somebody was a little sloppy with it and careless, and they got it on the Schrader valve or something like that? They got it inside.
Or if like they dumped it all over a TXV like Joe did in a YouTube video once.
Well,
just had globs of it on this.
Not a thing. Not a thing will happen because it's a liquid. It's indigenous of the base oil. There's no solid materials in there. And it was designed for the sole purpose of, if it got in your system, it would be part of the refrigeration oil. And we've done, you can look on our website and you can see the lab testing we've done to show that the Nylog is not only compatible, but with all refrigeration fluids, the metals and whatever, but is also miscible with the oil down to minus 30 degrees.
You know what I wanted to do?
There's no basis in fact that someone is going to plug up a system with Nylog because it's oil, it's a lubricant, it's the base lubricant. Nylog red is mineral oil, Nylog blue is POE.
See, I want to take a refrigeration system, pull the compressor out, drain all the oil out, and then refill it with that same amount of oil, but Nylog, and then braze it back into the system, charge it back up, and let it run, and see how that goes.
There's a benchmark.
That's what I want to do. Do you want to be a part of this phenomenal experiment?
Actually, we did the compatibility tests at 10% Nylog. And
I'm doing 100%. Go big or go
yeah, but 100%.
100, no oil, all Nylog.
It would be like saying, okay, I'm going to drain the oil out of my car engine and fill it up with ST.
Lucas. Yeah.
I mean, listen, what we're known for is pushing the envelope on this channel, John. That's what we do. You do it at 10%, we're going 100. We're going big.
That's first or last, Ricky Bobby.
So,
no, you know what? Having a small van like myself, honestly, I have to give it up to the new design of the the coil cleaners. How they're compact. A couple, let's say 4 jugs in my van, and you're taking up a big corner of space. You know what I mean?
Right
so
here,
I think I like that idea. Yeah, look how small that is.
9
and
gallons,
it's concentrated, right?
9 gallons, yeah, concentrated.
Yes. So,
the one thing I was sorry to cut you off, Joe.
It's all good.
But the one thing I was kind of when I seen these, through social media and whatnot, I was like, man, if you put these in your van, they're going to bounce around, they're going to break, they're going to spill open. That was one of my biggest concerns. But I got 2 of these. The condenser cleaner is on my van right now, and they're a pretty legit pouch. It doesn't seem, I don't think it's going to burst open at any time. And also, it doesn't seem to freeze. I didn't realize that. I thought it would freeze.
Well, it's so concentrated. There's very little water in there, and water is going to be the first thing that freezes.
Oh,
we on our YouTube page, we have a demo where we dropped a gallon of water and a venom pack like that off of about a 20-foot roof drop, and the venom pack didn't bust.
Nice.
So it's what you're looking at there with those packages is nothing new. It is actually the future. The days of cleaners and a lot of your different products coming in plastic jugs is going by the wayside because it ships at much less weight, so it's more economical, and using a more concentrated version of any product, any cleaning product, is going to save you money.
Now, I want to go back to Alaska, big part in the community. He asked a question. I don't have it. Maybe Adam or John could touch up on it. What was it? So I can't really relate. Can you ask John if there will ever be a conversion kit on the new Calgon coil gun to RT dilution ratios, right? Dilution ratios, I'm assuming.
No. Okay. I can't help them out with their own product.
Nobody can.
They've asked.
I got to tell you something, though. Like, it's so weird because those guns, they look the same. And I've used the new Calgon in the past, but when I bought the Viper gun and I used the Viper cleaner, it's so much better. It's so much better. Is it not?
Can't wait for summertime now just so I can use it.
I actually brought the foam gun to market in 1995 when I came out with the first coil brightener that you'd spray on a coil and it'd start to create foam and push out the dirt. I was the first one to do that, and I teamed it up with a foam gun because I envisioned walking up to a coil, like putting out a fire with foam, and just dousing the coil in foam and let it do its thing, and then rinse it down. And I found this foam gun that was being manufactured in Pennsylvania by a very reputable company called Gilmore up in Somerset, Pennsylvania. And they let me play with the gun, and they let me play with the jetting on it. And I got the jetting just about right. And they started making the gun to my specs. And, 2 or 3 years later, all the other chemical companies, my competitors, went to the same manufacturer, and they copied my alkaline coil brightener. First one to do it was Stuart Hall. They were a company that produced Renews. The next company that did it was Virginia. They came out with Alcafoam, and then several years later, Calgon came out with New Bright. So they pretty much ran me out of the market because they had such a stranglehold on the distribution.
So now that we're calling these guys out, I think we should make a point to say, if you have an opportunity to buy refrigeration technologies, these guys came up with it. And if there's new Calgon on the shelf, like, come on, guys. What are you going to buy?
Yeah, buy it. Don't be cheap.
Thank
Buy
you.
the garbage.
Seriously. I'm going to go touch on one thing on the Nylog. I don't know if everyone's seen this or not, but if you guys have been to AHR, it's an event, right? You're there,
Yes.
John. It's an event. And I've seen, before I knew of John Pastorello and before I knew of Refrigeration Technologies, I did know of Nylog. And I remember seeing the Nylog wheel with like 10 gallons of Nylog in some container, and it like spins around.
What is that for? Is that like a game?
It's just like the
To check
Spin
it.
it, get a $1.
Well, let me show you a picture here. Hold on.
Yep. Look at that shirt. Amazing.
Grandfather.
Let's see. I don't know how that.
Oh,
That's
we're
it.
in your frame. That's awesome. Thanks for having us in your room there.
Yeah.
That's the wheel.
So,
he's holding it up.
That is me stretching Nylog out of a clear casserole bowl.
Oh, yeah.
And I got tired of doing that at trade shows. And so I developed a wheel that would do the same trick.
Oh, like a taffy wheel.
Yeah.
Yeah, taffy wheel like. And, so that saved a lot of labor there.
So I have a dream and a goal in life that one day I could afford to buy enough Nylog and recreate that wheel and just put it in my living room as like a display piece. And just it's a decoration. People come over. What is that? It's it's an artwork. It's a piece of art over there.
It is art. It is.
I want
In
to set up
fact,
enough.
if you look up in Google, you put in Pastorello patent, some of my patents come up, and one will be called viscoelastic display. And I show a little miniature version of the Nylog wheel in a little case that's pulling Nylog, and you can get tricky with it. You can put like fluorescent dye in it and put a black light on it or throw glitter in there. And I put it in as a patent, hoping that I would sell it like lava lamps, and actually contacted the lava lamp people, and they got really angry at me. And
so how much Nylog do you have like in your warehouse right now, like gallons wise?
What's that?
How much Nylog do you have sitting in your warehouse right now, or your whatever your lab or whatever it is?
Nylog doesn't sit in our warehouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nylog, as soon as it's made, it's got a home.
It's
Okay.
made
I'd
per
say
order.
maybe at most, maybe we have right now, and we have 2 people coming in tomorrow, Saturday, and filling Nylog, and
So you don't have enough for us
half
to
a pallet.
fill up a kiddie pool and take it
Yeah,
down
I
to
mean,
the
That's like
We're supplying the world with Nylog. It's unbelievable.
The thing is, like, Chris keeps asking me to come and visit him in California and hang out, and that's one of his things. He's like, we can go to Refrigeration Technologies, and we're gonna fill up a bathtub there full of Nylog, and we're just gonna get and take turns sitting in the bathtub. And I'm like, dude, I'm down for this.
I envisioned this video at one time, a Nylog video, to where I would throw Nylog into this big pool and have, you know how they used to have the ladies do the mud wrestling?
Mhm.
I was going to have Nylog mud wrestling.
Nice.
Actually got a hold of
That's a good YouTube.
girls that were
video right
willing
there.
to do it until they saw how sticky and gooey it was and how difficult it was going to be to get off their body, and they didn't want any part of it.
But John, you and I know.
High-end hookers. You need to get the low-end hookers
Right.
to do that.
Look at the t-shirt you're wearing. Money talks. Money
Mhm.
talks.
BS walks, man.
I was gonna ask something here. You were talking about dates. Oh, for the moisture testers, do they have dates? Are they? Because I have. Let's be honest here. Can I use it after 2 years? Let's say.
Yeah.
Being in the truck, let's say.
No. Unfortunately, the moisture detector tube is only good for about 90 days. And the reason for that is that moisture will actually, this sounds unbelievable, little tiny molecules of moisture will actually diffuse through the glass and
I've heard of that before.
and be absorbed onto the
It doesn't do the same with
tubes.
like POE oil in the plastic jugs. It'll actually go through the plastic container.
That's what I'm thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Now,
You know,
we no longer make the moisture detector tubes. We no longer make the acid detector tubes. The problem was the people supplying us with materials.
Mm-hmm.
COVID-19 took them out.
Oh man.
So we only make Checkmate detector tube for determining contaminants in the oil phase, which was 90% of what we were selling anyway.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have any
which
new
should have a longer shelf life than the moisture one, correct?
Oh yeah. 2 to 3 years.
Oh, there you go. Okay. That's good.
Do you have any new, like, I feel like, before you got on here, you're back in your lab and you look like Doc Brown with like goggles on, and somebody comes in and you turn around, you're like, great, Scott. You got like beakers boiling and everything. So I'm wondering, do you have like a new product that you're playing with now and that it's like top secret you can give us a little hint on?
No, they don't. Those kind of ideas, they don't come around every day.
I know. What about
I like the Nylog white. I had been working with. I do all the repairs here in the shop and in the warehouse with the equipment and everything, and I had been swearing off Teflon tape because you get these fittings here, and you put Teflon on this threaded fitting and you screw this together and you torque it down. After a while, it ends up splitting the female.
Yeah.
And I've seen that over and over again. And I got tired of repairing that, so I started using this heavy-duty silicone that I have in the lab and screwing it together, and then maybe putting another half to a full turn on it, and never leaks, and I don't get any more splitting. So what really got me interested was to develop a product like that. Was I have this pump flange.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get it in the picture here. I don't know if you've ever seen this pump flange.
Mm-hmm.
nope.
Okay, and they tell you to use Teflon tape and screw it in here, and same results. I mean, this is strong. This is polypropylene. It's as strong as a hockey puck, and the meat on this, and I still, on the pumps, we got about 3 or 4 pumps. I kept on replacing these flanges, and God, it was still splitting. And the other problem was they give you a paper thin gasket here on the back, and they tell you not to put any dressing on the gasket. Just put it on there dry and only tighten the bolts to 12 pounds torque. Well, 12 pounds torque is nothing, it's a little bit more than snug. And we could pump water through, we could pump detergents through, but every time we pump glycol, propylene glycol through, I get sweating around the edges and I get sweating around the bolts here. And so one day I decided to disassemble it and get the heavy duty silicone and slather it on the gasket and slap it on the pump. And now we can pump glycol all day long and never get a leak at 12 pounds torque. That's why on this bottle here, let me get it in the frame here. It says for gas, water, air, glycol.
Awesome. It's funny you say that because Adam, the other day, I think you said it, Adam. It seems to me glycol is. What were you saying? Because you seem.
I said
like
you didn't agree with me at first. I said it's more prone to leak.
But I said, listen, if you have a leak, it shouldn't leak.
You'll see a glycol leak before you'll see a water leak.
Yes.
And I've seen like Pro Press fittings, certain brands of Pro Press fittings. If you're running a glycol system, they'll change color around the joints. Like it's a weird thing that happens. You know what I mean? And it's something with like glycol is like almost thinner than water or something. Like it wants to leak out. I don't know what it is. I'm not a chemist.
It's a solvent.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, it is a solvent base. Okay.
Yeah. Now another thing that I was noticing when I did the plumbing around here, I had to replace a water heater, and I noticed the old water heater had this clump of calcium building up on the hot water side. And I'm sure you've seen on the hot water outlet on any water heater. I have it at home too. The scale builds up right at the hot water fitting. And
right where you have that that temperature change where the minerals.
Yes, it's actually leaking very hot water vapor, and the minerals are depositing around the fitting. And it doesn't matter if you have Teflon tape or pipe dope. It seems that you always get that thick growth of calcium, almost like coral. And ever since I just inspected, I have 2 years of work up there on the water heater here, where I use silicone instead of any pipe dope. And at home, I did a water heater replacement about 3 years ago, and I used silicone instead of Teflon tape, and no calcium buildup. Nothing.
What do they call? What is the? I can't remember. Is it called galvanic corrosion or something? Because I'm wondering what's the difference. Is that what it's called, or not?
Yeah, galvanic corrosion is electrical. The electrical potential that is created between two dissimilar metals. That's why on a water heater you have a dielectric fitting.
Unions,
where the tank is not touching really. The connections aren't touching metal. So, but that's a different thing. This is actually hot water vapor on an atomic level, oozing out through the hot water fitting, and I'm sure you've all seen it.
Yep.
Yeah.
It ends up being like a big ball of like white.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
White, green.
Hey John, you ever take another company's like product, chemical, whatever it is, and try to reverse engineer it to see what they're doing?
We before I develop a product, I will analyze all the competitive products, such as on this is a silicone with Teflon, and so I took all the pipe dose out there that had Teflon, and I analyzed them all, and what I found was some of those products, it really wasn't Teflon. Most of it was ground up PVC, and some had chalk in it, and a little bit of Teflon, and because one of the to optimize this product, I needed to know how much Teflon to mix in with the silicone. 1%, 10%, 20%, how much? And so I sent out different samples to be helium leak tested and get a leak rate until I found the optimum amount of Teflon to use in proportion with the silicone. And not only that, I was looking at the particle sizes of the Teflon that was used in the other paste. And I noticed the Teflon was large chunks, large flakes. And so we also determined what was the optimum particle size of Teflon to use that would stop leakage on an atomic level. So that's how we optimized the product. And yes, we used competitors as a baseline. And then, we would then do heating and leak testing and compare the finished product with the other pipe dopes out there. So we know that what we're putting out exceeds what they're putting out. We do that with everything. We do that with the coil cleaners. We'll send out, we'll analyze their product, and then we'll have a lab that does soil removing testing, test different products, and give us a percentage of soil removal. And we want to make sure that our product is removing more soil than the competitor.
You guys ever think about coming out with a, I think I've actually messaged you about on social media about this before. I need a good beard oil.
Good beard oil?
Yeah.
You could sell it. I'm telling you, you'll sell it. Refrigeration Technologies in the store. People would buy it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of beards out there.
Personal care is a different set of chemistry. It's mostly hype.
I already use your hand wipes where they're not supposed to be used.
And
so does Yamo.
I do know a chemist, a real good friend of mine, that does specialize in personal care. In fact, he was the first chemist to combine shampoo with conditioner. And it later became Pert Plus.
Yeah.
Really?
So you could rebrand that. Rebrand it. Beard
well,
oil.
he worked for the company, so everything he invented was owned by the company.
Well, he never invented his beard oil yet. The Refrigeration Technology beard oil.
And you got Bill as your model.
Yeah, Bill would be a good spokesperson for it.
I'll do videos on it. I'll test the product.
He's got his resume there since 7th grade.
Yeah.
Make it flammable, or flame resistant rather.
And now that you kind of shut down my hopes and dreams of like bathing in a bathtub of Nylog,
we could arrange it.
If I do come to California, do you think we could like go through all the competitors' recipes and just write them down and send the recipes to that company, just so you could write a little note in there and be like, I got you.
And let them know what's in it.
Yeah, let them.
To them.
You could let them know what you know. Be like, here you go.
Oh, you know what? When I get a lab report done, when I have a lab study done, on the bottom it'll say, I'm not allowed, even though I paid for the lab, I'm not allowed to release that lab report without the lab's permission. And if you're doing a competitor's product, I have to have their permission to release it.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're all going to jail tonight, people. You heard it here first.
There's a code among thieves, I guess.
Well, you could trust us. Nobody's watching this.
Honestly, to tell you the honest truth, I don't know if you see the chat, John, but everybody in chat, there's some great texts in chat, and they're all saying they love the product, they love what you do, and
good. Since you got people on the chat, because the only criticism I'm getting from this product is it's too small. So
like a paint jug full of it.
I've got
sweet.
Oh wow.
An 8 ounce and a 16. What would they prefer, the 8 or the 16? Let's do a survey.
You heard the guy. You heard the Godfather. Put it in chat, guys.
What do you like? What would you buy, 8 or 16?
Say what it is.
Peanut butter container.
It's pipe dope. It's like the superior pipe dope that the godfather of HVAC chemicals invented. On that note, I was going to wonder, this is not a direct complaint that I have. It was just an idea that I had to see what your thoughts and if anyone's ever mentioned this to you. But on that product, as far as pipe dope goes, because I know you could use it on gas, has anyone said, like, since it doesn't have a color and it's clear, that like an inspector cannot see it?
Good point.
No one's ever said that. And in fact, we've got this product at UL right now for UL testing.
Testing ULC.
And the only reason
in Canada, it has to be UL approved before they can use it. You know that, Joe. So we've got Canada UL and we've got US UL doing the lab workups on this stuff to get it approved.
The only reason why I mentioned that is because I run into on certain jobs when you're doing like a high efficiency furnace or boiler, whatever, water heater, whatever it is, when you're using PVC pipe, I know a lot of places don't use PVC pipe for venting anymore, and people are going to hit me for that, but Chicago still does, guys. I'm sorry. I live in Chicago. That's what we do here. I don't care what you do because I am cooler than you. But my point is you have to use primer. And they want you to use purple primer so the inspectors can see that you use the primer, right?
Okay.
So that was my kind of point. Like, maybe it needs a color. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not a inspector, but it was only my thought. I don't know.
White?
Yeah. So can you see it on the joint after like on a piece of gas pipe? Can you actually see it?
Yeah, you should see his shoulder on there.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm not busting your...
Here's a test report I can share with you guys.
Awesome.
Because there's no competitor names on it. I found 4 different Teflon tapes. We have a blue, we have a yellow, we have a white, and it says red, but it was actually a pink Teflon tape. Now, which one do you think had the lowest leak rate?
The pink, definitely.
No,
I'm buying pink.
We use pink up here, and it's pretty good. So
if Canada's using pink, I'm not buying pink. I'll take that.
I'm going pink.
No, I don't know.
Which one?
All right, here's the results. Look at the bottom number, and it will show you. Let's see.
Hold on. Let me share your screen. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm solo. Okay.
It'll tell you that the blue barely beats out the yellow. Then after that comes the pink and the white. The white is 10 to the -8th. That's not too far behind. And these are all very, very good. This is a decay test, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, we're counting helium atoms coming out of a leaky joint. It's 100 psi test pressure and 50 pounds of torque. Those are good numbers there.
So we're not allowed to.
Well, you see at the bottom, if I could show.
Sorry, I wish I had. Do not talk about this on television.
Helium leak testing approval.
So,
wow. That is.
But however, there's no competitors in there that we're doing so.
So, by the way, unless you guys seen different, John, I seen 8 and 16 everywhere. So I couldn't even tell you which was more.
Everyone wants both. They want both. I guess here's the thing. There's guys that work on smaller pipes. They want a smaller jar. And there's guys that work on bigger pipes. They want a bigger jar.
Yep.
Yeah, you just got to start selling it at Costco in like giant mayonnaise-sized containers.
Or, when you go to the grocery store and you bring your coffee beans, you could just dispense any size jug you want,
Yeah.
I got a question about ice machine cleaner, John.
Okay.
The other day, I had to replace 2 evaporator coils in a Hoshizaki ice machine. And it was still under warranty. It was like 1.5 years old. And I don't know who's been cleaning them, and I don't know if that was even the actual cause of the breakdown. But the Hoshizaki's, the stainless steel evaporator plates will separate off of the tubing, and I've always been told that's because they were using nickel safe ice machine cleaner, and Hoshizaki doesn't want you to do that for some reason. And then as I pulled the evaporators out and I got to looking down in the water trough, there's all these like little silver particulates just all through the water trough. Like, it was thick. It was so thick I had to suck it out with my shop vac. I've heard that your ice machine cleaner, you can use it on any brand. Can you?
Yeah, we've sent it to Manitowoc. They sent us plastics. They sent us an evap plate, and we did all the workup on it, and we sent them the results, and we sent them photos and everything. And Manitowoc no longer approves ice machine cleaners, but they basically put us on their good list. And that's about the best approval we can get. With ice machine cleaners that contain phosphoric acid, they will also use a little bit of citric acid. And what that does is the citric acid helps the phosphoric acid work better. We are not using phosphoric acid. We're using a more advanced acid called MSA, methane sulfonic acid. And with that acid, you can't use citric acid as a booster. We use another acid as a scale booster. So we got lucky there because I didn't know anything about the Manitowoc ban on citric acid containing ice machine cleaners.
But
even though we did send them samples and ingredient lists to Hoshizaki that because we wanted possibly private label it to them or get approval from them, and they never got back to us. But I noticed just a couple of weeks ago, I saw some Hoshizaki ice machine cleaner, and they seem to have copied our acid. So,
sounds like they kick some acid.
Yeah, so we need to do to
Let me tell you a
Hoshizaki.
story about ice machine cleaners. A long time ago, there was a company that made a nickel-plated copper, and they had problems with they got a bad plating job. And so they had all these evaporator ice machines out there, and the nickel was sloughing off. In order to avoid a lot of warranty replacements, they blamed it on the technician for using too strong of acid.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, well, you should only use nothing stronger than lime away. And lime away was green.
Lime away.
And yes, and they went to the main suppliers of ice machine cleaner, who were Calgon and Virginia. And the story was told to me by someone from Virginia, that they said they wanted the ice machine acid concentration cut in half and color it green. So, and they would approve it for use. And all this was to cover up a bad plating job and not having to pay warranties. So that's the story of the nickel safe.
So
And that's why they're all green, because the lime away was green.
I hate it when stuff sloughs off.
I feel like sloughing off here in a little bit.
Actually, Craig Egan just said, I was on TrueTech getting my supplies. Did you get some refrigeration technology stuff, Craig? Bill, I don't know if you want to tell the chat where Chris is. The guys who just joined later on, where Chris went. 'Cause people are asking where Yamo is. Chris?
Well, I don't know where Yamo is, but yeah, Chris is he's out at some restaurant that some crackheads took some copper off of a refrigeration system, so he had to run and try to get this thing put back together so the restaurant wouldn't lose their food, even though it happened 24 hours ago. They just finally put the call in.
And they're calling him on Friday night, boys.
Hold on.
Mhm.
I have let's see here. I don't know if I could do this.
And now, our HVAC correspondent, live from Monterrey, Mexico, starring in the highly anticipated segment, Questions for Yamo.
Now, hold on. I brought you in for a specific purpose, Yamo. First off, you need to behave yourself. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see you combed your hair, so that's a start.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Keep your pants on this time.
So, my question is, John, I sent Yamo a big package of random cool tools that they do not have available in supplies in Mexico. And one of them was Nylog. And it actually got flagged at the border and they confiscated it. And I was wondering, is that something that, is going to be available at some point in Mexico?
We have trouble with distributors there.
Because they're scared of it.
No, we just don't have any major buyers there. Our products are on the higher end price-wise, and they know they can get coil cleaner a lot cheaper, and they don't care about blue soap bubbles because they got someone else making blue soap bubbles for half the price.
And they're having parties with R22 in the air. So
Yeah.
That's yourself, Joe.
And I don't know about Nylog, but I don't think we sell anything across the border in Nylog. I love Mexico. I love Mexico. It's one of the. It's a free country. I mean, you can do anything down there, right, Yamo?
Yeah, you can.
That's true.
We go there to fish. Just to fish.
yeah,
That's pretty tame.
The pharmacy, but
Yeah, running drugs across the border or something.
I think
you're
that's what
gonna fish with the fishes.
I think that's what they thought was in the Nylog bottle.
Yeah, like liquid meth or something.
This has got to be drugs.
I sold a lot of mini splits, so Nylog it will be nice for me. Well, at least for me.
This reminds me of a little show. John, you ever watch the show Breaking Bad?
you know what? I got into the reruns, and it was like when I was going to college and taking chemistry.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to tell people that because the first thing out of their mouth was, "Can you make us some LSD?"
Oh yeah. Well,
Or can you make it something? Can you make some C4?
that was another question then.
And I go, listen, I'm learning basic chemistry. I'm not a senior chemist. I mean, I'm just trying knock it off class by class.
But now though,
I eventually got into Breaking Bad on the reruns. Yeah, and I got strung into it.
You haven't been tempted to make some side cash?
No, not at all.
No, okay, well, that's good. That's good.
I could make more money Nylog, Big Blue, and cleaners than legal money. Okay, stuff that will keep me free and on the outside.
Yeah, that's a better way to do it. Don't listen to my advice.
You know what? But guys, John's saying that with the Godfather T-shirt on. Come on, let's be real here, guys. Come on, you guys. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Grandfather.
He's showing it.
Oh,
it's
grandfather. It's not Godfather,
anyway,
Joe.
We'll change the topic, John. We'll change the topic.
Joe can't read. He just let us all know that.
Yeah.
Well, guys.
Yeah.
It's been a thing, man. It's been real fun.
It's been very educational. I feel way dumber from listening to him describe all the chemistry experiments that he has done. And
you imagine if we had John and like Big Clive all in the same show, how stupid we would feel?
I think
CJD, you're not the only one. Guys in chat are like, "Oh my god, I feel so dumb." Trust me, I think we all feel a little bit more dumb.
We could have a goal. We'll have Clive Bergman, Brian Orr. We'll try to get all like the brilliant people we know together, and we'll melt the internet.
Bill Sloan too.
True.
Oh yeah.
Bill Sloan.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, Bill Sloan for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically your opener, John. He was on last week.
Yeah.
I did a podcast with him. I was a little tense in the beginning of the podcast, and he just kind of opened me up and relaxed me, and we just had a really nice rapport going. And I enjoyed doing that podcast with him. Brian Orr is also another one. I was really a little uptight about doing a podcast with him, but things started to flow, and we got along real good.
But look how easy it was with us. Come on.
Oh, you guys are a piece of cake, man.
See? Really easy. We don't ask hard questions. We're not smart enough to think of those questions.
Yeah, I think my best question was, can you put enough Nylog in a bathtub for me to bathe in, please?
Yeah.
I'm in. Okay, I'm in.
Hey, I wanted to run a compressor filled with Nylog. That's a pretty good question. Not really a question, but an idea anyway.
Well, I think we settled it for once and for all, though. Everyone, there's a big debate on the Nylog thing, and would you say you ran it 10% Nylog?
10% in the lab test, yes, and it was still miscible, fully miscible. Means completely dissolved at -30.
Nice.
I want to know, let's say 10 pounds of Nylog, because we'll give it a weight.
On our website.
Okay, but I want to give 10 pounds of Nylog. I want to see how much, I don't know what's the tensile there, how long you could stretch it out for. Like, I want to know how long you could stretch it out for before it falls.
You know what? We'll fill a bucket, and maybe we'll capture Adam on a video doing a stretch. We'll have to get him on at least a 6-foot ladder. Maybe
that would be super sweet.
That would be cool.
Things that are gooey and sticky are just right up my alley. This is gooey and sticky. You know, love that chemistry.
I mean, you've sold me on your products, and I'm trying to sell my distributors on it. I'll tell you that. I'm gonna work on them. So
I made slime out of shaving cream and glue, so I'm kind of like a chemist, I guess.
We know all these great techs over here online are buying them through True Tech Tools, one of the big companies. Buy their product. It's amazing, guys. All of us love it.
And let me tell you something. We have not been very clear. There's been certain people we've been trying to push. John has not paid us a dime, right?
Nope.
John, we're not taking any money from you. This is not a paid advertisement.
Nope.
Bill Spone is not paying us anything.
Nope.
These are just companies that we believe in and we think they could help people out. And that's
Absolutely
what we're doing, I think, right?
That's why we didn't invite the CEO of Harbor Freight onto the show.
On that note, I think that's a good way to end it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got one more story.
Go for it. We love stories.
It's the day I shaved off my beard story.
Oh, it's a sad story.
Okay, so it has a happy ending though. As I got older, my beard started to turn gray and get very wiry. And one day I was standing in front of the post office. I'm waiting for my wife to pull the car around to pick me up. And I see this little old lady. She's got her eyes just pinned on me. And as she walks by me, she clutches her purse really hard. And she walks by me. And then just about that same time, a Hispanic lady came up from behind me and said something to me in Spanish. And she handed me $1, you know, and I go,
What?
Okay.
What?
Is that telling you something, Bill? Is that telling you something?
I wish people would give me $1.
And I had to shave my beard off that night. That was the end of the beard days.
Yeah.
And I walk by and people like, you know, they hold their kids tighter and nobody gives me $, though.
I think after his story, I think I'm going to go inside and shave right now.
Stand in front of the post office. I think that was the giveaway.
I'm going to put like sticks and peanut butter in my beard next time I go out. And see if I get some $.
One thing he lacked to tell about his story, it was around the whole Ted Kaczynski era.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you guys are
All right. Well, what do you think, Bill?
I think it's time to get out of here.
and we're for sure gonna have you back, John. It's been amazing.
Hey, thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
Thank you. Somebody say
See you
something
guys.
witty and funny. Say something cool. Yamo?
Yeah.
Take us out from Mexico.